Hey there, welcome to another episode of your favorite libertarian. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about why I think I'm done with the T.REX Arms Ready Rig. When I first got this Ready Rig, I was super stoked. If you want to see the full review, a very in-depth review, I think it's like 45 minutes long, of this Ready Rig in comparison between this and other things, check that out in the description below. But when I got this on paper, it really appealed to me. The design, the way it worked, made a lot of sense, and I thought I was really going to like it. Once I received it though and had some time to test it out and use it, I noticed some things, and we're going to go over those things right now. The first thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the X harness system. Just for me, my body type, I just seem to work better with H harnesses. It distributes the weight better for me. It sits better on my shoulders. And that's just me. Your mileage may vary. The other thing that I don't like about the X harness, especially with this rig specifically, is it's a lot harder to quickly get this on over my head and around my shoulders and to get it on than if I had an H harness system. For some reason, there's just more rigidity and you can tell where everything is supposed to be when you go to put it on. Maybe that's just me, I don't know, but not a huge fan of the X harness system. And the problem with this particular rig is that you cannot take this harness off and put a H harness on. This is supposed to be a pro in that it's supposed to be just a out-of-the-box, good-to-go kit. There's no modularity, and not having the modularity saves on materials and costs, so it's a more affordable chest rig, but you lose that modularity. So, apart from not being able to, have a bunch of different attachments and panels and things like that in the front, you also don't have the option to change out the straps, which is kind of a bummer. All right, this one's gonna be kind of weird. I'm gonna have to be at a weird angle for you guys so I can talk to you and also show you this. The second thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the way that this is designed in terms of where the magazines sit and how they sit against the body. I've had to do a lot of adjustment. I first tried to do it where I would normally have a chest rig, which is right here. The problem with that is that the corners of the magazines start rubbing against your nipples, at least my nipples. Your nipples may be different than mine, and where they're located might be different, but for me, the corners of the magazines, regardless of what magazines I had, and all 30 rounders, because America, I'm not gonna rock 20s if I don't have to. Anyway, they were rubbing. And I had to first try to go even higher up to see if I could have them go over my chest a little bit higher so they weren't rubbing. That didn't really work. And then I tried to go lower, and that's kind of how I have it set up right now, is way lower, just so that these straps are kind of going a little bit inward of my nipples, not directly over them, because this is hard plastic too, and this doesn't feel super great when it's rubbing against you when you're walking around or doing things. The other thing is, if I go to bend down like this and I start folding my body, these immediately go up into my nipples, which is not great either. I think one of the big reasons for that is that you don't have any material between the magazine and your body. And this is fine if you are wearing a jacket and you have this over a jacket, like I did with the MDFI low light long gun class that I took. I had this on the entire time over a light jacket and didn't notice it at all. It was completely fine the whole day and all night, because it was a night class. But as soon as you have just one layer in between you, like a t-shirt, and you want to use this in the way that you would normally use this, which is supposed to be like, it's covert and you don't even know it's on, and you have like a jacket or a shirt over it so you can conceal it, then the idea of comfort kind of falls apart. Let's talk about this cummerbund situation. Cummerbund. Let me know which you prefer in the comment section below. Here's the issue that I have with this setup. They've opted to go with Velcro that is hook facing outward of the body. Two issues I have with that. One is that if you have this on and then you're putting some article of clothing over it, it's going to be tearing up whatever you're wearing over top of this if you're not the exact size as Lucas and you need to extend this a little bit further. The other thing is that if you are doing any type of vehicle stuff and you have cloth interior in your vehicle, this is probably most likely going to catch on it, and then you're going to be peeling off of it and making a super tactical noise like this. The last thing I want to talk about is the stitching. I did have issues with my initial sample size of one with the T.REX Arms Ready Rig and with the tourniquet holder. I'll get into what those are specifically, as I still do have the original. This is still the original, but I want to touch on the phenomenal customer service I received from T.REX Arms first. When I reached out to T.REX Arms about the issues, they immediately responded to me that day. They also sent a full refund in the form of a gift card for the exact amount for the Ready Rig, because they did not have that in stock to just send me. And they let me keep this Ready Rig. They also sent a brand new tourniquet holder as well. So phenomenal customer service. I think the tourniquet holder got to me in like 2 days, which is crazy. So phenomenal customer service from T.REX Arms. Now let's talk about the specific stitching issues that I found and why I think this might not be an isolated case, and it might be indicative to the design of this rig. For the tourniquet holder, there was stitching that was coming out right here where this X pattern is stitched in. The reason for that was I had other Velcro stuff that was going over top of this, and I was having to take it off and put it back on rather frequently. And when I say frequently, this is like when I just got it. So I was just kind of trying to figure out where I wanted to put stuff. And just from that, just ripping up the Velcro, the hook Velcro on top of this loop Velcro, I was taking out the stitching. So that was a big problem. The other stitching issues that I was having was with the actual rig itself, and I'll show you some of those, and I'll try to zoom in post so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. There's a little bit of stitching that's just kind of dangling off here. I think that's just the end of the stitching, so not a huge deal there. This is where it starts to get interesting. I think because of the design of this, you might have issues soon, immediately, or later down the road with this rig. These little panels, you can see that there's a lot of excess that's kind of dangling. And the problem with that is, as you're pulling up this Velcro and it's holding onto this, and then it's pulling against the elastic cummerbund, you can see that there's a lot of stress on the stitching in this design. And that's happening for all three of these. You can see that there's actually some elastic coming out. I actually just pulled this elastic out. So you got some elastic coming out of the cummerbund itself in different spots, just from the stress of having magazines in there, which is crazy. I don't know if you can see it all right here. It's starting to come out there. You also have a little bit of stitching coming out here, some stitching coming out for right here where you have this keeper for anything you want to put in the Snicker-sized pouch. So those are a couple areas. There are other areas, if I look even further around, that I'm having issues as far as that goes. But I think, again, that's due to this design. You have this really big Velcro panel going over this multiple times, and then when you're pulling it, you're really stretching the stitching away from this elastic. Well, I think I'm done. I mean, specifically done with this. I'm gonna list this on eBay, talk about all the blemishes, all the issues I have with it as far as stitching goes, and someone will still buy this. They will buy this probably for what I paid for it brand new, and they'll be super happy about it, blemishes and all, because that's just the loyalty it seems like T.REX Arms has. And I will say, I own other T.REX Arms products, and they're great. I have no complaints with them. You've seen the reviews on my channel. I have the full review of this as far as initial impressions go, and even in that, I was talking about the stitching issues. So that shouldn't be a surprise here, but the other things that I noticed might be deal breakers for you, might not, but I wanted to make sure you were aware of them. Anytime that I'm looking at purchasing a new product, I'll go on YouTube and other various sources, and I will type in that product, and then I'll put issues. I recommend you do that so you can see if there's any issues that you should be aware of before purchasing said item. Now the real question is, once I get my sweet eBay money, minus their ridiculous commission percentage, what am I going to get to replace this Ready Rig? Well, I've got a few ideas. Most of them involve an H-harness system. They also involved more mags in the front compartment area. And I'm also toying with the idea of some type of IFAC or trauma kit that fits into an M4 AR-15 magazine pouch. So stay tuned for that, as there will probably be a review on that coming in the not so distant future, but we've got a lot of other content that we're going to be churning out before that happens. Well, that's pretty much it. If you like this video, be sure to like it, comment, share, subscribe, all the algorithm stuff, since YouTube isn't helping at all promoting any type of content like this fantastic tactical scarf content. You need to make sure that you're doing that stuff to feed the algorithms. Otherwise, this message isn't going to get out and people aren't going to be able to understand some of the issues they might come across if they purchase this particular item. That's why I do this stuff. I find out stuff the hard way, and then hopefully I can share that information with you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I make when purchasing gear. And also, if I find stuff that's really good, I want to make sure you know about that too, so that you know what gear is good to go if you are looking to protect yourself and your loved ones with it. Also, double check to make sure that you have your subscription still happening and the notifications are still happening, because YouTube likes to turn those off for people too, especially with content like this. Coming to you live from the Tactical Babushka to ask for your support financially. If you'd like to do so, Patreon, subscribe star links in the description below. If not, continue to watch this content for free. As always, thanks for watching. Stay free. God bless. Well, I guess I'll go list this now. Bye.